So you have explained us that when we use the Upadan and Nimit Karan in the context of Brahma and the Jagat, we understand that he is both the material cause and the efficient cause. And because Brahma is the Upadan Karan, he cannot be separated from the creation. And however, he is the Nimit Karan and he uses himself in the process of creating the Jagat. Brahma is supposed to remain separate from the universe, like in the case of the pot, when we say that Brahma is the Nimit Karan. So, but Brahma is inseparable, so how do we understand this concept?
Thing is that Brahma is inseparable, and therefore each and every material and object we see around us is created out of Brahma and has the form of Brahma. We are not able to separate it out. For example, my Jivatma, my soul, which I have inside my body, has Brahma as his Anshi, and my Jivatma is its Ansh, is a particle, like a particle, and Brahma is the whole part of it. Now, for example, if I say that no, I am not constituted out of Brahma, then this statement is wrong in its own self, because as we understood that the Sat characteristic of Brahma means existence, and the Chit characteristic of Brahma means the consciousness. So both the characteristics of being existent and being aware about our existence are in us because of Brahma. For example, if I try to separate Brahma from myself, I can't even exist, and I don't even have the characteristic of consciousness in myself. So ultimately, if you cannot exist without having the attribute of Brahma, it means you cannot be separated from Brahma. And as Brahma is infinite in context of time, place and form, there can be no such place where you can exist without having Brahma. There can be no such time when Brahma will not be present, and there can be no such form in which form Brahma is not present. So ultimately, you cannot exist without being Brahma or without being a part of Brahma.
So in the worldly context, we see that Brahma, like in the Nimit Karan, Upadan Karan, or like the Nimit Karan is separate from the creation, but Brahma, when we use it in the context of Brahma, Brahma cannot be separated.
Yes.
Okay, I understand now.
This is explained in a verse in Rigveda. Rigveda asked the question that which was the place where Brahma sat and gave the shape to the bark of a tree, which was the tree which was given shape by Brahma, and what was the art which Brahma created out of that log of a tree, log of a wood. And then the Rigveda answers that the place where Brahma sat, even it was the Brahma. The log of the wood which Brahma used, even the log of the Brahma, log of that wood was Brahma himself. And the art which was created by carving out the log of the wood, even the material obtained was Brahma. So this is what we accept as. So the creator is the Brahma, the material is the Brahma, and the efficient cause itself is the Brahma, and whatever is created out of that material ultimately, it is Brahma. We cannot separate anything.
Ji Raja.
Fine.
And I also had a second question.
Yes.
So if Brahma is the only one who created the universe, then why are we using the word, the term Parabrahma to define Shri Krishna?
Can you ask again?
Yeah. So, we use the term Brahma to define. So, like, we know that Brahma created the entire universe. So why do we use the word Parabrahma to define Brahma? Because there's not two Brahmas. Because like when the term Parabrahma comes in when there's two Brahmas, and we're like comparing that one is Parabrahma and the other one is just Brahma. But that's not so. There's only like one Brahma. So why do we use the word Parabrahma?
See, for now we haven't went to the topic, but Parabrahma, the term is used because Bhagavan, Shri Krishna, manifests itself in the form of Akshar Brahma first of all. For now, just understand, see the term Brahma is used for the ultimate element in reality. For Shri Krishna in the Ved. But when Bhagavan wants to create the universe, he creates Akshar Brahma first of all. Akshar Brahma is like the fragrance and Parabrahma is the flower. Or Bhagavan Shri Krishna is like the sun and Akshar Brahma is like the rays. That's the relation between Parabrahma and Akshara Brahma. And therefore, in the relation of Akshar Brahma, we are saying that Krishna is the Parabrahma because he is superior even than the Akshar Brahma.
Okay.
We'll be understanding this topic in detail in the third chapter, Mool Rup Vivek of Brahmaratna Sangra. For now, just understand this much. We'll get in detail there.
Okay, Ji Raja.
Okay, so my question was about Asatkaranvad. So they believe that new materials cannot be created unless the causal material is destroyed. But in the case of the universe, Bhagavan is the causal material, since he created all of us and created the whole universe. But like obviously Bhagavan can't be destroyed. So do Asatkaranvadis like not believe in Bhagavan, or do they make an exception for him?
They don't. See, the Asatkaranvad, they accept Bhagavan, but not as the material cause, but only as the efficient cause. So, material cause will be like the science. The science accepts the atomic format, and there are many other formats which are explained in the causality. So, they do accept Bhagavan, but Bhagavan is only the efficient cause, like the potter, and the material cause will be something else. And therefore, the material cause has to destruct itself to construct something new.
Okay, so like they don't, like they believe in Bhagavan, but they don't believe that he is both the material cause and like the creator.
Yes, he is only the efficient cause, and the material will be something else like atom or sattvic, rajas, tamas, gun, etc. And they will be destructing themselves for constructing a new material.
Okay, thank you, Raja.
I have a question.
Yes.
So I want to clarify that is a Brahma a part of us, and like is there like can we be separated from like from Brahma if it's like a part of us?
Brahma is not a part of us, we are part of Brahma. Brahma is infinite and we are finite. So Brahma is the whole and we are a part of it. As we have the whole ocean and the drop of ocean. So Brahma is like the ocean and we are like the drop of that ocean. So Brahma is not our part, we are a part of Brahma.
Okay, I understand.
Anything else?
Yeah, Raja, I had a question. So yesterday we were talking about like the 5 different materials that Shri Krishna creates, and then one of them is Barush, which is just described as like a mass of Chaitanya. So this includes like all living beings, like animals as well as humans. So I was just wondering, what is the definition of humans then, I guess? Because like what separates us from other living beings?
It doesn't separate us from other living beings. Even the main character of the soul is consciousness. It means to be aware about our own existence. So even we are aware about our existence, and animal and birds are also aware about the existence. But the only difference is that what human beings do, it is counted as his deed and his karma, and accordingly he will be receiving good and bad result for the good and bad deeds. And as a result of the bad deeds, we attain the body of plants, animals, and birds, or microorganisms, bacteria, viruses, etc., for fulfilling the bad karma or bad deeds which we had done in our former life. So, in our term, we would say that human being is known as the karma yoni, and you may write it down. A human being are karma yoni, and the other plant, animals, birds, etc., they are bhoga yoni. It means the animals and birds, whatever they do, it is not counted in the deeds, because they are in that form only for bearing the bad result of the bad deeds that soul had done in the former life. Soul, it means that for example, in this life, if I am doing anything wrong, which is a pap, which is a bad deed, then in the next birth, my soul will attain a body of a plant, animal, or a bird, or microorganisms accordingly. What is the proportion of bad deed which I have performed, and accordingly I will get the result. So the soul remains the same. It has the character of consciousness in all the body he receives, but he has to bear the bad and results in the form of plants, animals, etc. And in the human life, he has to perform the good and bad deeds. If he is performing good deeds, he won't be attaining that. If he is doing any bad deed, then he will be attaining the result in the form of such a yoni. And even the pap is in more proportion, then he will be attaining naraka as the result.
Okay, so then after, if a person does in their next life become like a plant or like any other being like that that's not human, then does, like, what happens in their next life after? Does it just start again?
After bearing the result of good and bad deeds, whatever we have done, we will be again in the human life for performing the karma, and the cycle just goes on.
Okay, so what separates us from others is that like plants or animals is because we have the karma yogi and our deeds get counted in our life.
Yes, if all the other bodies and life are bhoga yoni, it means you are just supposed to bear the result of your good and bad deeds, and only the human life is known as the karma yoni, in which you can perform good and bad deeds. So, and therefore our scriptures explain that getting a human life is a good chance. It means you would have performed some good deeds in your former life, and therefore you have attained a human life. So our scriptures explain that try for your salvation in the same birth. just go for such methods, the intense methods through which you can attain salvation in the same life. Because, for example, after this life, I will, for example, if I have done some bad deeds, then I'll have to bear the fruit of those bad deeds and even of the good deeds. So, Shastra explains that concentrate on your Atma and not on your body, and go for the methods which can make you free from all these worldly bondages. Otherwise, the cycle of birth and death will go on. It is just an endless cycle without any end.
Okay, I understand
This
now. Thank you.
from we can make the sadhan, or we can make the practices for attaining salvation, but not anyone else can.
Okay, I understand now.
Anyone else?
Then Pranam Raja, I have a question.
Yes.
So you know, like how we if we step on an object, that would technically be a bad deed as well.
Sorry, can you repeat?
You know, like how if we step on any object, it would be a bad deed.
If we deliberately do so to hurt someone, violence is indeed a bad deed. But, for example, it is not in my control. For example, we have tons and tons of bacteria, viruses and germs, etc. even on our body and even around us, on the ground and just everywhere. So we don't have control there. We cannot control the violence there, because we will have to take a footstep. We are going to use our body, etc. But indeed, if you are doing it deliberately to hurt someone, then indeed the violence is a bad deed. You will have to bear the bad result of that deed.
Okay.
But if it is not done deliberately, it just happens out of the necessity in which we can't control, then it's fine. We don't have any other option. I mean,
right, we can't just float in the air.
Without a bit of violence. We cannot be 100% non-violent. We cannot survive without a bit of violence. But being a Vaishnava, as we are considering each and every form as the form of Bhagavan Shri Krishna himself, mercy, daya, is the first character which we must develop. So, as we are understanding the metaphysical form of everything, we are understanding the purpose of this creation. So, in spite of understanding things, we are not supposed to hurt anyone. We are not supposed to do violence anywhere. So, it is expected that actually each and every human being must understand these things. But being a Vaishnava, as we are learned, we understand things. We are not supposed to do any such activity deliberately. When it happens out of necessity, out of our surviving process, then it's okay. We won't have any other option.
Okay, thank you. I understand.
Anything else?
Yeah, Raja, I had one question. So for
Yes.
the theories of causation, who are the two people who created them? Or the one person who created those two theories?
Satkaranatavad is the theory from Mahaprabhuji, and Asatkaranatavad is the theory from Buddha, Bhagavan Buddha, Buddhism. Buddhism from a school named Sankhya, from I can't say Nyaya exactly, yeah, majorly from Buddha, even from Shankaracharya, because they accept that Maya results in the form of universe, the Maya itself which doesn't exist. So even this is not what Satkarantavad is, but yeah, they solve the problem saying that it is an illusion. We'll be understanding these theories in detail in further topics, but for now, just understand this much.
Thank you, Raja.
I have a question.
Yes.
As person, when someone asks about stepping on something, if that's a bad deed, I wanted to ask if like stepping on a piece of paper that has like knowledge or something written on it, is that still considered a bad deed?
So each and every word and each and every letter is the form of Saraswati. And Saraswati is the sound of Bhagavan, the Adidaivic form, the divine form of the Vani of Brahma. So, if you are insulting Saraswati, it means you are insulting the Vani of Bhagavan, the words of Bhagavan. So, even the scriptures and even the normal books we have, generally we don't even keep them directly on the floor and not even step on it, even by mistake. If we do so, then we are supposed to touch our forehead to the book or scripture, whatever it is. But nowadays we make the bad use, so newspapers and etc., because now we don't have control on the print media. So newspaper we have and dozens of magazines and this and that, everything just goes on. So we must try to maintain a good respect. But nowadays we don't have control. So print media and whatever is published in the form of papers, everything just rolls on around us. So at least about the printed books which we have in our house, at least we must maintain the respect of those, and to maintain scriptures, maybe our Sampradayic or Shastriya, whichever they are, we have to maintain much and much more respect of those scriptures. But even the normal books, they are supposed to be respected. We are not supposed to keep our foot on anything, any book, any letter, any word.
Thank you,
And not
Raja.
even musical instruments. Even they are the form of Saraswati. Whichever instrument produces music, maybe harmonium, tabla, etc., we don't even touch our foot to any of the musical instruments. Even it is considered as papa because it is a form of Saraswati, music.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
Yeah, so I had a question, like, going back to what Vanchika had said. So I think it was just like I just need a clarification. So when you're talking about, like, human lives and, like, the deeds that you do in this life reflecting your next life, so once you reach your human life, I was just confused, like, will your next life, like, if you do bad deeds, like, will your next life, can it be anything? Like, you could be, like a different animal, or you could be like anything, or will you, like, once you reach human life, can you only be a human thereafter?
No, it is not so. There is no such written law that, for example, if I perform bad deeds, I will become an animal or a bird. It depends upon the proportion of bad deed I have performed, and I want to be knowing that Bhagavan himself understands this, and accordingly he would provide us the body. But in spite of reaching in the level of a human body, we are supposed to perform good and bad deeds, and as a result of bad deed, even after having a human life, we will be attaining the life of an animal, bird, or a plant accordingly. It is not so that after human life there won't be any other life.
Okay, thanks for the clarification.
Fine. Anyone else?
Namaste Pranam Raja. I have a question that we went over. It's related to Vanchika's question. It was about the temperament, and when we said yesterday that the essential character of any material or object is like the humanity of it. Like for us, it's our humanity. You said, and like no matter how one acts, there will always be human because of their humanity. And I didn't understand when you said this because like when we hear humanity, people always say like it's their like nature, but it's always like referred to like as their good nature. And you said like no matter how one acts, they'll always be human, but there's always people that are like they don't have like the ability in their brain to behave as other humans do. So I didn't understand what you meant by like humanity itself, like its definition.
For example, even if I behave like an animal, for example, I become much and much more violent in spite of having all the brutal activity. Can anyone say that in built I am an animal? You have to accept me as a human. So in spite of being human, if you are not maintaining the humanity characters, then it is the problem of our deed or our thinking. But ultimately, human will remain a human because he is born as a human. We can have the attributes of animals, we can be brutal, we can be violent, and so on, but it doesn't mean that you won't remain a human being anymore. It is an inbuilt character. For example, a cow is an animal and it has to remain an animal. So being an animal is its essential character. Same way, being a human is my essential character. In spite of my inhuman behaviors, we can say that in spite of being a human, in spite of having brain, understanding things, he is not behaving or he or she is not behaving like a human. It's the behavioral response we are giving. But if you are a human being, then you have to be a human being. The humanity is your essential character.
Yeah.
Anything else?
Raja, I have a question.
Yes.
Can I ask?
Yes.
Okay, so I have a question regarding Prakriti. Like yesterday we learned that with Prakriti, Bhagwan creates Jad Tattva. Then I was relating this with the Bhagavad Gita, because in the 7th chapter of Bhagavad Gita it says that there are two types of Prakriti. One is Apara Prakriti and other one is Para Prakriti. So from Apara Prakriti, Bhagwan creates the Jad Tattva. They say that Man, Buddhi, Ahankar and 5 other elements like water, fire, Panch Mahabhut. And from Para Prakriti, it is said that the Bhagwan creates the Jiv Tattva, Chit Tattva. So, but yesterday, like we learned that with the Chaitanya or Jivas are created from the Purus. Then I was just trying to understand that this what would be the role of Para Prakriti then? In what terms, in what context they are saying that the Para Prakriti, from Para Prakriti Bhagwan creates the Jiv Tattva or Chaitanya? Because I was confused, because like yesterday didn't we learn that from Purus all the mass of Chaitanyas are created, so all the Jivas are created? I'm sorry?
Prakriti is a synonym of Shakti of Bhagavan.
Can you repeat one more time, because I couldn't hear you.
Prakriti is understanding this chapter, Mool Rup Vivek. So can you keep this question pending?
Okay, no problem. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. In the Mool Rup Vivek, we'll be understanding the format of all the 5 tattva we discussed yesterday. So there, all the questions regarding.
Okay, no problem. Ji Raja.
Process of creation, they will be asked. Be interactive more and more, only then the subject will get more fruitful. Otherwise, the topic of the philosophical concepts, they really go hard sometimes. You people may ask wherever you people have doubt regarding any concept, any term, or any theory, process, etc. Fine, we'll be continuing tomorrow.
Namaste.